up, y'all? It's your boy, eBay Fight Predictions in the building, and this is your Corey Anderson, the GOAT, versus Vadim Nemkov, the Pretender, fake champ, Russian boy, breakdown. Let's go, baby. I love this fight. I told you guys, even the first time they fought, that Corey was going to win, and he was on his way to winning. I think Corey is probably one of the most underrated light heavyweights in a very, very long time. He's really, really good. The guy has wins over guys like Jan Blachowicz. I know they're 1-1. He has wins over Glover Teixeira. A lot of people don't know that. The guy is a really, really well-rounded fighter. Ilir Latifi, who at the time who was top 5 guy. I understand he's had his hiccups, but yeah, man, he's something that I feel like the UFC really lost out on. You know, I felt like they lost out on Kevin Lee, but we just saw maybe Kevin's a little past it. But I think Corey was just getting into his prime, man. I understand he was coming off that loss to Jan, but like, that's the champ. You know, there's no shame in losing to that guy. So, yeah, it is what it is. It's a shame he's not in the UFC right now, because I do think he's a UFC caliber fighter in Bellator. I really do believe that, and he's showing what he is, and you see what he's doing to these guys. Vadim Nemkov is a guy that has a win over, or 2 wins over Phil Davis, and Phil Davis is probably one of the more athletic light heavyweights of all time. Dude also has a win over Glover Teixeira, and beat Alexander Gustafsson, a legitimate light heavy. Also just recently beat Yoel Romero, who's, I mean, aging but good fighter. So for Corey to have that performance in the first fight was really, really good. But, you know, going into this rematch, I think it's going to be a lot different. Obviously, Vadim has his excuses, but besides that, we'll talk about that later. Let's talk about the stats, man. I do have the stats on my TV, so that's why I'm looking at it. But yeah, Vadim comes with a record of 15-2. He is the champion. He's fighting out of Russia, age 30, a height of 6 foot, and a reach of 76. Corey Anderson comes with a record of 16-5. Is fighting out of, let's just say, United States, and he is from Chicago, where they will be fighting at. He's 33 years old, in his prime, a height of 6'3", and a reach of 77.5. So he does have the reach advantage going into this matchup. So here's my thing about this fight. I think Corey, the only thing he really has to worry about is his defense and his head placement. I think that's a big factor going into this fight. The head kicks of Vadim Nemkov is super, super sneaky, man. The guy has a legit head kick, and he is good wrestling. Really, really good wrestling. But let's talk about that first fight. I gave the first round to Vadim, and then I gave the next 2 to Corey, obviously, and obviously the headbutt happened. But the way Corey was breaking Vadim Nemkov was almost similar to what Phil Davis was doing in that 3rd round of the first fight. I remember that, man, and that was the storyline going into that second fight, is what if Phil had 2 extra rounds. Now we found out Phil, he fought a dumb fight. He decided to strike with Vadim in there, and I mean, hey, Vadim stuffed a lot of his takedowns, so it is what it is. I can't be too mad about what happened there. But you saw when Corey Anderson put that pressure on him, he broke. And that's Corey's nickname, overtime. There's a reason why. Because he goes to the overtime. Alright? He's the guy that brings you to overtime and beats you in overtime. That's just who he is. He has probably some of the best cardio at light heavyweight, but he doesn't get credit for it. It's insane to me. He has awesome wrestling, decent boxing. His striking is always getting better and better. But what makes him such a complete fighter, and makes him good, is that he can mix it all together. And when he mixes it all together, he's really hard to beat. Vadim Nemkov, in my humble opinion, I think he's such a great offensive fighter. And a lot of people don't know what that really means. He's so offensively based. He's really good offensive wrestling. And he's really, really good offensive striking. And he has good defensive striking. But when it comes to the grappling defensively, he has his problems. And, what was it? Julius Indrikis? I think that was the guy's name. He dropped him. If you guys remember that, he dropped him in the I think in the first round, hurt him at least. And Vadim had to use his wrestling to really win that fight and break him. And that's the thing going into this matchup. Corey has the striking. If he touches Vadim on the chin, he could go down, and he has the wrestling. And that's where these guys compete, you know. And that's what I think about this matchup. Obviously, we saw how Corey could win. I think Corey has a number of ways to win. I think if he mixes it up and, you know, strikes and wrestles, I think he can win a decision 50-45. If he's good enough to wrestle and then really, level change and change his wrestling with his strikes really quickly, he could get a knockout. I could see it. You saw what he did to Ryan Bader. The guy's complete. You saw what he did to Johnny Walker. He's a complete fighter. The only thing that really harms Corey is his chin. He's a chinny fighter, and that's okay because he has the wrestling and he has really long arms. He has the jab, he has the 1-2, he has the power to kind of make up for it, and the cardio. He never gets tired. And that's how I can see Corey really winning this fight. Vadim, obviously, the head kicks are there. He's a good offensive grappler. I was really surprised how bad his wrestling looked in that first fight. And obviously, let's talk about the excuses he's made, because during that time, that period, Ukraine and Russia were dealing with their issues, so you don't know what kind of training situation he had in that first Corey Anderson fight, and that's why maybe he had that performance. I remember Big John McCarthy and Josh Thompson kind of made that excuse for him. Obviously, I don't believe in that. He showed up, and that version of him showed up. It's like the Aljamain Sterling thing, bro. Like the first fight, I had a bad weight cut, or I ate food in the morning, or something dumb like that. It's like, nah, man, you showed up. It is what it is. You lost, you know what I'm saying? Or you didn't lose, but you had a bad performance. Just take it on the chin and be a man, right? Keep it stepping. And that's my thing about Vadim. I don't think he had a bad performance. I don't think he had a bad training camp. I just think Corey's better. I think that's what it is. Corey is a better fighter than him. We've seen him break against Yuri Prochazka. He's good when he's leading. I'll say it like that. When he's leading the fight and he's up, he's good. But when he really has the pressure put on him, and someone's really grinding up on him, he's just not that guy to come back. I know he came back from Julius Andrikis, but that was a moment. But when it's a continuous pace, he can't come back. He got saved by that headbutt. If Corey Anderson never said a damn thing, he would be the champion right now. And I would have just kept whooping on him for the next 2 rounds. Alright? There's a reason why I'm running a lot of blue, some red, and some white. Because I'm going with the USA, baby. Alright, Russia, you're going down. We're going to teach you how to wrestle like we did the first time. Corey Anderson's getting that belt, and he deserves it. It's his moment. He's 33. He's in his prime. Corey, I feel like, has never, ever been treated right by the UFC fans, by MMA fans in general. And if anyone's ever deserved a moment in this sport, and I know it's Bellator, and people will never respect him, even if he's a Bellator champ. I understand that. But if he ever deserves a moment where he can say he's the best, it's Corey Anderson. Corey Anderson's such a motivational dude, man. The dude, I remember I was listening to a podcast with him in an interview where he was just talking about, like, he was a complete loser as a wrestler, growing up. He didn't win a match until he was in the 5th grade, and he started in 3rd as a 3rd grader. And he just kept going at it. He's one of the hardest workers in this sport, in my opinion. And I know maybe it's just the wrestler in me that really wants to see Corey win, because a lot of wrestlers can relate with that, not doing well at first but working your way up, right? And that's what the kind of guy Corey is. He's a guy that didn't do well at first, but he's always worked his way up. He's just the workhorse. He's the working man. He's the common man. And I'm rooting for the common man. Vadim Nemkov is the prospect. He's the prodigy. He's the guy that's supposed to be here. I'm rooting for the guy that's not supposed to be here. I just say it like that. I'm rocking with Corey motherfucking Anderson. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the little breakdown. I had to do it for Bellator. Bellator 288. So yeah, go check that out. If Corey wins, I'll do like a little reaction or recap or whatever. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Love y'all and goodbye. Your boy eBay is out of here.